What's up guys, Justin here for S&S Archery. In today's gear video, I'm going to be doing a comparison on the tripod heads that we carry here at S&S Archery. Today's gear video, we're going to be looking at the Sirui VA-5 versus the Wiser Precision Nighthawk PH 170. Alright guys, so in this video, like I said, we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the Sirui VA-5 versus the Wiser Precision Nighthawk PH 170. These are the two tripod heads that we carry here at S&S Archery. We're very familiar with. We've done a lot of testing. We've tested a lot of other heads outside of these two, but these are the ones we believe in, and that's why we carry them. So when we take a look at the specs of the two models, the Sirui VA-5 is going to come in at 16.8 ounces. The Nighthawk PH 170 is going to come in at 6.1 ounces. And that is utilizing the carbon handle. They do offer another lever here on the side, just like the pan knob, for your tilt. So you can take off that handle. It becomes a 4.9 ounce weight at that point. So very, very light. Yes, it does become a little bit challenging to use, but you know, if you're an ounce counter, that is definitely another option. Both of these heads are Arca-Swiss compatible, and the Sirui VA-5 uses a slide-in process, which can be slid on here from the front or the rear, and then locked down into position. As far as the Nighthawk, this is more of a drop-in from the top, also Arca-Swiss compatible, but you're just going to lay in your optic and then use this clamp here on the side to tighten it up. Taking a look at the axis adjustment of the two heads, both of these utilize independent axis adjustment. So for the Sirui VA-5, here on the side knob, this is going to control our tilt. So you can loosen that, and that's going to cause the head to move up and down. As far as your panning, this knob here in the back will control your pan. Now as far as tension with the Sirui VA-5, the tilt adjustment, if you tighten that tension, it's really going to stiffen this up. It's going to hold your optics, your bigger spotters in place, and then you're yet able to continue to scan, which is really nice. As far as your panning tension, you have a very small window with this. So for the most part, it's going to be free moving for you. Taking a look at the individual axis adjustment here on the Wiser Precision. As far as your tilt, this is controlled through the handle for your up and down movement. To increase that tension, you're just going to tighten the handle, and that's going to make it stiffer. As far as your panning on the Wiser Precision, we have a knob here on the side, which is going to control that pan. This one, you have a lot more adjustment as far as that tension. So unlike the Sirui VA-5, you can really fine tune this panning left and right to set that tension just right where you want it. As far as connecting the heads to a tripod, both of these are going to utilize a 3/8 by 16th thread, so pretty much all your common tripods are going to work. As far as the construction of both of these heads, they are going to be machined aluminum, so very durable and strong. You can see here that the Sirui VA-5 is quite a bit bigger than the Nighthawk, and that's obviously where that extra weight comes in on the VA-5. As far as the Nighthawk, we do have some stainless steel components. But both of these are going to be sealed systems, so you're not going to have any grime, dirt, dust getting in to where your smoothness is going to be affected later on down the road. So a couple more features on the two heads. The Sirui VA-5 is going to have 2 bubble levels to help you level up your shot, whether that's for photography or videography, and the Nighthawk PH 170 does not. As far as the handles and the different positions that you can run these in, Sirui VA-5 has a ton of adjustment. So whether you're using a spotter, you want that handle more towards you, or you want to change the orientation to say out front for binoculars, you can easily do this. You don't have to rotate the head around. The Wiser Precision handle is pretty limited on its overall adjustment. If I wanted to use the handle out front, I'm just going to have to rotate the head all the way around. You definitely get a little bit more adjustment within the Sirui VA-5. So the last spec that we'll cover is where these are built. So we have a USA made company in Wiser Precision, and the Sirui is going to be made in China. All right, so getting into the pros list of the Sirui VA-5, for me it starts right up here on top. Being Arca-Swiss compatible, this is huge. Anytime I can make all my camera equipment have that plate, my spotting scopes, my binoculars, that's huge. I love the fact that, you know, I'm not swapping out different plates. I run them all the same on the same head, so it just speeds up the process. Another thing I really like on the top of this head is the safety pin. So I'm always on the run, depending on if I'm filming or hunting. But if you ever forget to tighten down the knob, which is going to secure the plate itself, if you forget to tighten this down, at no point is this going to slide off. So this is huge. You know, you'd be out $3,000 if that glass hits the dirt. So that is definitely one nice thing to have. The next thing, what I really like, I like the ability to adjust this handle in all different positions. Whether I'm using a spotting scope and I'm just needing a handle in the back, I want to use binoculars, rotate the handle out the front. The overall position and orientation of the other knobs haven't been affected, just the handle has changed positions. So I really like that. I'm comfortable where these are at. I don't have to look down, so it just makes it super easy and fast for me. Another thing I really like when I'm packing, a lot of times I'll have a bow on my back, I'll have a rifle, camera equipment. I can put this handle in a downward position so everything is sleek in design and it's going to fit in my pack really nice. So the last thing pretty much on the pros list, which is the biggest thing for the Sirui VA-5, is how this thing is like a Cadillac. So it's very smooth in its panning and its tilt. You have great friction in that tilt knob. It's going to hold the weights of the 85 millimeter spotters, my heavy camera equipment, and then I can also use my binoculars. Very smooth. The tension on it is fantastic. It meets all the requirements as far as the panning and your tilt being smooth. All right, so now that you've seen the pros, what we like about the VA-5, time to get into some of the cons, some things we wish were a little bit different. That 16.8 ounces, that has to be our #1 con with this head. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. But like I said, it's kind of the Cadillac, it does it all. So that's why it's gonna be, you know, just over a pound. And lastly, one thing up here on your Arca Swiss plate where your attachment point is, because this is a slide system, not all Arca Swiss plates have the same tolerances. So depending on if it's Sirui, different brand, even the integrated ones on, say, the Vortex, they are Arca Swiss, but the tolerances are cut just a little bit different. So when you slide this on, you may find that some of these are getting really tight, some of them are sliding on too easy. At times you will have to make an adjustment here on the side knob. Not necessarily an issue, just something you might have to do with the different tolerances. So moving over to the Wiser Precision, the Nighthawk, you know, for me, the #1 pro of this head has to be its weight, 6.1 ounces. The weight to performance ratio, you're definitely getting a great head in this. No, it won't support the heavy 85 millimeter spotters very well. It will do it, but you're gonna have to tension up your adjustments here on the side pretty harsh in order to make it stay in position. But it's going to be great for that under 65 millimeters down to the binoculars. It's going to work awesome. Another thing I really like, I like the fact that the Arca Swiss attachment point is a drop-in style. It makes it really fast and easy. You don't have that slide-in process issue like you do out here on the VA-5. The one thing to note, kind of a con, you don't have any safety pins. So if you forget to tighten this down, potential that this could slide out, your optics could fall on the ground. Another pro with this is your ability for your tensions, you know, being able to adjust your tension for your tilt and your pan versus very limited on your pan here on the VA-5. You get a full range here on the Nighthawk. So that is definitely nice to have. The last pro I'll mention on the Nighthawk is it's made in the USA. So that's huge. The guys over there are great. They've reached out, commented, gave me tips on some of the videos and other areas. So definitely good guys. They're gonna help you out if you have any questions about their head. So getting into the cons list of the Nighthawk, when we take a look at the handle, there is no adjustment for it to change angle like the VA-5. So if you have this in your pack, you have to tilt that head up. If you leave any kind of binocular attachment, you're gonna have basically this funky position of where you have stuff kind of poking out. So that is one thing that I wish was a little bit different. Some kind of knuckle here, but totally see why they did it, just to make it ultra lightweight. So lastly, one of the things I wish was a little bit different here on the actual panning. If your knob here is loose, so you can move it freely, you do have a little bit of spring back as soon as you release it. You can eliminate this by increasing the tension here on the side. You just got to fine tune it until that thing stops. But if you want it to move freely, you will have a little bit of spring back. So now that we've gone over the specs, the pros and the cons, it's time to kind of look at which might be the right head for you. If you want the Cadillac, if you want the workhorse, weight isn't really an issue. You want something very smooth that's going to hold those heavier spotting scopes, binoculars, has an adjustable handle, great features, individual axis adjustments, Arco-Swiss compatible, go with the VA-5. But if you're an ounce counter, you're one of those guys that's doing a lot of the hard hunts in the backcountry for multiple days, every ounce counts. This is an awesome option, definitely some great performance. This is going to be great for guys that aren't running spotting scopes that are bigger than the 65 millimeter. Yes, it will work. You're just going to have to increase the tension on your axis adjustments. But if you primarily are using binos or small spotting scopes, this is definitely an awesome option. It is going to be a little bit more money than the Sirui VA-5, but ultimately these are both great heads. And just know that we've tested a lot, not just these two, much lighter, much smoother, much heavier, video heads, but ultimately these are our favorite. These are the ones we think that you guys will definitely like, and this is why we sell them here at S&S Archery. If you guys have any questions about the Sirui VA-5, the Wiser Precision Nighthawk PH 170, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email, we'd be glad to help. If you guys have found this video to be useful in any way, please hit subscribe to follow us along on more gear, hunting, and review videos. Thanks, guys.